Let's do it.
Ah, honestly, there's nothing really nothing too crazy. It's just asking basic questions. I had Alejandro earlier.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about ASMR and
Okay.
it's weird knowing that seeing that community and how big it is and the kinks or the triggers people and all that. But I was grateful to have you on because finally I can have somebody that I can talk back and forth on because we kind of have like a similar background in video production stuff. So thank you again for being on the podcast.
Of course.
I appreciate it. We've only spent what, like maybe 3 times, 4 times hanging out, like a handful.
Yeah, about 3, 4 times. By the way, are you into ASMR?
No, me no. I found out that she was doing that, and I was like, might as well just have someone on. Like, I just bring people on to talk to them about just random. I wouldn't say random, but like stuff that I find interesting. Like
Right.
that's interesting. Like let's talk about it.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah. So for you, man, you can, if you want, you can introduce yourself and then give a little bit of background that you have.
Okay. Yeah. Am I looking at you, the
You can
camera? Does
tell
it matter?
whoever you want, bro.
Okay, cool. Well, I am Sam. People call me Bubbles. It actually came from one of my best friends back in high school. I kind of, I don't know, we were just weird and awkward. So he's like, I'm gonna give you Bubbles. And I gave him Butterfly.
Okay.
And I thought it was kind of weird to go by that name at first. But then somehow I really liked the name because when I would eventually later down the road when I graduated college and I would get all these gigs, like production gigs, people would remember this Bubbles, but they would never remember a Sam. So whenever they needed someone, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, hire that guy Bubbles." So it worked out in the end, even though that name was kind of embarrassing. Um, but yeah, so you want to talk to me? You want me to say what I do, kind of
Yeah, man. Whatever you want.
um,
Yeah, just go on. It's usually freestyles and then it
yeah,
ends up flowing.
yeah. So basically, I'm like a toolable sorts kind of person. If I were to say I have a strong background in it is visual effects. I think I've always been passionate about that, especially because since I was like a little kid, I've always wanted to be like a magician. And eventually, I'm like, how can I make some sort of profit money out of it? And I found it through visual effects because it's kind of like magic if you think about it.
Yeah.
You're making things appear, you're making things disappear. So kind of just my passion for it has always been there for that. And yeah, so aside from visual effects, I also do um, drone work, a lot of drone videography or cinematography for several horror films that I worked on. So I've done Lionsgate's The Haunting of Sharon Tate. I've done Amityville Murders. I've done The Murder of Nicole Brown Simpson, to name just a few. It was actually pretty exciting, but uh, I was doing it without a license. I don't know if you want to include that on there.
For drone?
Yeah, I was flying drones without a license. I was just like, yeah, I can do it. I'm totally qualified for this. And, if someone would have gotten hurt, then I don't know. I probably just would have said, I'm just a hobbyist, getting drone shots
I,
for
I'm
fun.
surprised that they never even was it pre-screened you or do you have your Part 107?
No, they didn't pre-screen me, probably because my friend that, managed the production, he kind
Mm.
of just went with me because he knew me. But yeah, they didn't screen me or anything.
Would you say it's all about who you know sometimes, or
I
it's
think
all the
so.
time?
I think so. All the time. It's about who you know. And especially in the entertainment industry, you gotta, kind of network yourself into it because it's very competitive. In the end, it's really that person, that maybe went to college with you is now maybe a big person at Disney or whatever. Um, it really just depends on who you know, honestly. For entertainment, I don't know about other fields, maybe. I'm
Mm.
not sure. But for entertainment, I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
You do drone work too, right?
yeah, I do drone work too.
That's
Just for
cool.
businesses, local businesses. Like I think I've showed you them on our Instagram account. Uh, just showing the building. That's really it though. Like when we started, or when Roman started, the boss, he no one up in the high desert was. They would do like their video, like videographers would do videos for businesses, but no one really added drone shots until like he started flying with the FPV drone.
Right.
And then I was like, at the time, I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like, get the goggles. And then once I invested, like, let's get a DJI drone. So then it was so much easier because now it's just steady footage where it's like, we can just leave the drone there and not have to worry about it.
Right.
With the FPV, you have to manually drive it,
Right.
fly
Right.
it, and if you let go of the thing, the drone is just either flying off or
Right.
gonna fall. So, yeah, we ended up making that transition, doing DJI, working with them, not well with that product, and yeah,
Do you find it difficult flying FPV? Because I've never done actual FPV. I've always done like, like the DJI inspired drone. Like,
it's definitely a learning curve, man. Like if you do like the simulations on, um, there's some a couple apps, DJI's, and then like another popular one. You just got the remote, and then yeah, you're manually driving everything. Same thing as a DJI, but it's not staying still, so you have to like keep the, I don't know, propulsion, or keep
right.
like it flying steady, either straight or if you're gonna turn an angle. And then yeah, it's pretty hard, and they're dangerous.
Yeah, it actually looks kind of scary. I don't know. I feel like at the speed you're moving would give me some sort of panic attack personally. When you're doing like movie stuff, it's a little more controlled because you're not going left, right so quickly.
I
But
don't really
yeah,
like them. I don't really like FPV shots in movies.
no, I
I
don't.
don't feel like it adds any value, or at least I haven't seen it. The ones that you do see are the ones that I've also
Hmm.
seen, it's like 2 to 3 seconds long of clips that you see FPV drone, like, woo, and then you can tell like either like, because it's kind of hard to keep a steady camera.
Right,
It's not like they have the DJI gimbal on the big drones. Like those ones are usually like nice shots. It's like whatever's on the camera that's only pointing straight. So it's like if you have that nice shot, then we have to cut it to the next scene.
hmm,
Um, I don't know which one's done it right, really, like that
right.
made it look really impressive.
Yeah, I've really never seen any either in movies at least, but I think it's still kind of cool. By the way, I told you about that drone certification test
Yeah.
that I was gonna take. I literally studied the night before because I was cramping everything because I was doing it without a license. So I'm like, I need to start doing this with a license. And that motherfucker was hard as
Yeah.
yeah.
You
It
had to
was
what,
really
get a
tough.
70 out of it to pass?
Yeah,
Okay.
and I was just like, I think it was like 2 or 3 points away from passing it, so I failed that freaking test. It was a little tougher than I thought. I thought I could just cram it in and the night before and show up. Nope.
Multiple question.
Congrats, you failed.
It's not multiple?
It's multiple
Oh,
choice,
shoot.
but you still, even though it's multiple choice, you still have to know how to read sectional charts, how to read weather charts. It gets crazy. You need to know the difference between each airspace, when you can fly that certain airspace. I think there's also a lot of numbers in particular. You need to know how to like the difference between AGL, MSL, which is like mean sea level, above
Hmm.
ground level, and all these other things. So it is multiple choice, but they also give you a booklet that you kind of reference to back and forth. But I shouldn't have left it for last minute
Lucas
because,
is probably
yeah.
looking.
Huh?
Lucas right there.
Oh, he's
I
right
see
there.
him, yeah. So you live in LA, right?
Yeah.
Um, so the benefits of LA in your entertainment, like they can just call you and you'll be there within an hour. Is
Well,
that like one benefit, or?
the reason I'm in LA is because uh, although I work in education, I also am very passionate about still kind of being actively involved in actual, industry work because I think that's a really good way to not forget your skill set.
Hmm.
Kind of when you're in, because the industry is always like evolving with new technology. So constantly working in it is, it's good for you so that you're constantly keeping things up to, like training yourself on, because eventually, like you can lose it if you don't practice it. But
Yeah.
yeah, usually my gigs are like 10 minutes away because I work a lot of shows like the Emmys, the Telemundo, Latin American Music Awards, a bunch of award shows mostly. So it's kind of convenient to be in LA. I do have to commute to work about 50 minutes every day. It's a little annoying, but I got to do what I got to do to
Yeah.
make that rent.
Yeah, the reason why I say that is because, sometimes uh, people that say that they live in LA kind of does get a bad rep where it's like, why you live in LA for? Like, you can just live anywhere else. You don't have to live in LA. But then, like, if you're in that industry, like in the film industry, because it's kind of popular right there, a
Hmm.
lot of, a lot of events are happening. How's it going? Yeah. You can get in trouble or no?
No.
Okay. I think he wants to go next. That's why. I got him. Um, it's for you it's convenient, like in other people, like would you recommend more people to live there to or just like stay where you're at and you can still commute?
Well, honestly, you don't even have to be in LA to do what you love. Like, there's some people doing it from Ohio. There's people literally doing it from their own country. Like, it's always happening. You can be successful at what you do anywhere. I've met people that do voiceovers for a living. They're in their room back in Mexico and making bank off of their voice. Uh, for me, it just makes sense because my connects are currently in LA. That's where I work. That's where also my friends are. Uh, they're not particularly here in the IE, so kind of makes it. It really depends on what makes sense to you.
Mm-hmm.
I just happen to go to film school in Los Angeles, make my friendship circle in Los Angeles, and that's why I'm there. But I see your point. I don't particularly think you got to be in LA to make it. There's different pathways or ways to go about your passion. I
uh
think.
and you had told me in your past like you used to do voiceovers. uh do you still want to do that, or not voiceovers, sorry, not voiceovers, what was it, what is it called, voice acting?
Uh, Voiceovers, more of a voiceover guy. Voice acting is like you kind of go into character with cartoons and that. I'm more of a voiceover guy because I like the announcer voice. Um, before I like actually while I was in college is when I was more active on it, doing a lot of voiceover work. I actually started on a website called Fiverr. I don't know if you've
Yeah.
ever heard of it, and I would sell my voiceovers there, and it kind of helped me train kind of like my vocals, kind of learn through trial and error. But even before then, I started, kind of finding that passion for voiceovers because my mom would watch these novelas in uh, Televisa, and then there was always this guy, por el canal de las estrellas. And then I was like, oh, damn, that's cool. And then I would be like, por el canal de las estrellas. Obviously, I didn't have the deeper voice back then, but over time it did it become deeper.
So
And
your mom noticed it, like, oh, you can do something
um,
like that, or
she just, I don't think she noticed. She would just be like, stared at me. I'm like, what is this guy doing? Kind of like a little weird look, but I don't
yeah.
think she ever like saw that I could actually make money off of it like later down the road. And I mean, it would pay my meals in college, so my voice would actually pay for all my meals, throughout the month, which is pretty nice. And as I said, I started on Fiverr, selling my voice over services there. And the funny part is that once I had all that clientele on Fiverr, I told them, yeah, I'm not on Fiverr anymore. So if you need anything, you go to my website and you purchase the voiceovers through there. And you're not supposed to do that because
Yeah.
of whatever,
Fibers, yeah, they want
Yeah,
you to pay in
yeah, and
so
they
they get their. Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
they get their cut, and I don't like doing that because 20% is a lot. So I rather
They
do it through
take
my website.
20%.
20%.
Oh hell no!
Yeah. So,
But they
if,
do store. They do store all like your portfolio on there. So I get it. But damn, 20%. That's a lot.
yeah, yeah, it's a lot of money. Yeah. So eventually, I was doing like commercial work, from my room. That's another thing we were talking
Yeah.
about earlier. You don't need to be in LA. I was literally in my room in San Diego County. Had my own little green screen in my room, little lights. I was making commercials there. 01800 Dominos. Así es. Llama ahora. It was all in my room. So I still want to do that in the future. Right now, I'm just a little focused on, getting a master's degree, and eventually, I do want to go back into it. By the way, it's going to be in marketing, the master, so it kind of
Mm.
would align well, having that background, the creative background, and also the background in marketing. I think it'll be a good pair. Like as soon as I plan to get back into it.
Damn. Yeah, you showed me some of your commercials that you did. What was it for, like the dealership?
Yeah, yeah. So they've been on like local Univision and Telemundo and also local theaters. So they've gotten like this little cute distribution. It was kind of a proud moment in my life, actually. And it's funny how things connect. Like I feel like everything happens for a reason, because I never thought that kind of mimicking the voice from Televisa, and then later I would make a little money off of it, and then later in college I got an internship with the Television Academy, and it's a very competitive program. I think it's like about 1,000 applicants every year, and they only choose about 40 candidates to actually intern there.
Hmm.
And they ask for a portfolio as part of the application. And in that portfolio, they had all those cheesy commercials that I showed you. Like, I didn't have a beard back then,
Yeah.
so it was very nerdy, very cringy kind of commercials. But when the judges saw that portfolio, they're like, I can't believe this guy did this. He's acting, he's editing, he's doing the motion graphics. This guy's a genius. And they told me to my face because they later did like a dinner with, the judges that
Yeah.
select the interns. And right away, one of the guys was like looking for me. He's like, I've been looking for you everywhere. I'm like, really? Hi, nice to meet you. Who are you? Oh, I'm one of the judges. I'm one of the people that voted for you to get it there, to get you that internship. And it was kind of exciting, because all of that work paid off.
Yeah, and I think the ones that you showed me, right? Like you were talking like breaking news, like it was like funny ones, right?
Yeah.
But like I, I get similar situations where, we're still showing off our skill, but like through comedy, and that usually sticks out more than like if I was just showing my skill and the other person was showing their skill, like which one looks better, or like if we're doing the voice, which one sounds better. It's like you end up sticking out more because like, oh, that was pretty funny, and we're looking for that skill. So you like, you qualify more. I would say like they just you stick out more. So that's the one thing where, because when you show me them, I didn't understand Spanish, but I'm like, okay, I can see it
You can
and I
see
can
what's
hear it.
happening.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and same thing for me, man. Like I'm making content with like involves doing shoots or video production or whatever it is, and I'm just putting like a comedic effect on it. So like they stick out more than the average videographer or video
Hmm.
production company. So yeah, and that's pretty good, man. Like I don't know if you did it on purpose or if you
No,
just
I had a more bubbly personality back then. Right now it's a little more monotone for some reason. I
I
think
get
it was COVID. After COVID, everything shut down and everyone was born awkward after that
that
shut down.
that too, but it's also like you grow up, you just start to like be in different environments, like the environments that you want to be in, but it's
Hmm.
also like different people that are in there, so you can't really be yourself, which is a good thing and a bad thing at the same time. So
Yeah, I feel that. Because sometimes I do want to like get extra bubbly with, in my general workspace, but obviously, you don't want to be annoying either. So you got to kind of balance things out. But I get what you're saying. Yeah.
yeah, I'm the same, man. I the problem, like the marketing team always has to deal with me. Just I'm always like, man, saying to they're like,
Yeah.
well, you can't say that, or like you gotta calm down, you got too much in. I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, let's just go make content then. So
Uh-huh.
yeah. So I see it a lot. So what's the difference between a cinematographer and a videographer?
That was actually something that I was thinking about because I know that uh, I know that you use the term a lot in your videos, like videography
Yeah.
or things like that. Uh, Honestly, they're, I mean, similar in and of their own, but I feel like one is a little bit more creative than the other, just because with cinematography, you're telling a story, I feel.
Hmm.
Uh, and I guess you could technically do, I feel like videography is
Okay.
more commercial driven. Cinematography is more like entertainment driven for like, long form or short form, just films.
Mm.
But that's really what I think. One's more commercial, One's
Okay.
more creative, in as in having to tell a story and whatnot.
Okay. Yeah, it wasn't a test, honestly. I just wanted to know because I see a lot when like I get a lot of engagement from cinematographers too, and they're like, "This is nothing," and I'm like, "I'm not. I don't even know what the difference is or what's like what you guys do. It's like you guys are holding the camera.
Yeah.
I understand, like, yeah, it's like you can pay attention to the color grading or the way it's filmed with the lighting and certain things. So
Uh-huh.
I do respect it, and I never really like
Right.
downplay that sometimes.
Yeah.
Um,
No, I've seen people like downplay when people use videography, because for some reason, and I hear this a lot. It's not coming from me. Uh, people in general say that videography is like kind of more amateur. You're getting started, and cinematography is more, I don't know, someone that knows their shit. But I don't think that's really true. It's I think it's personally I think it's they're unique in and of its own, if it
mm,
makes sense. Like they I don't think anyone has any more talent than the other. I
okay.
mean, technically, a videographer can be a cinematographer, and vice versa. Cinematographers can be a videographer, but I don't think, as people say, that it's a matter of talent. I don't really think it's that, but I do hear it a lot going around. I don't know if you've heard of that too.
No, I haven't. But I only ask because, like I say, I get the comments sometimes
Uh
and
huh.
they get upset, like about horizontal and vertical.
Oh,
So usually I try to,
that's actually good because bad publicity is good publicity, and you're making people upset, but also guess what? You're getting that algorithm going, getting
but
people engaged.
I'm not doing it. I'm not trying to be controversial. It's
Uh
just because
huh.
really, it's like, are we really complaining about filming horizontal or vertical? But sometimes I'd go like to the dramatic. Like, did you see the one where I'm editing vertical?
Yeah, I saw that.
So like something like that where it's like just stupid. Like you can't take it serious, but it's like all right, whatever.
Right.
But some people do, and then you see in the comments like it needs to be horizontal all the way, or you're not gonna appreciate the art. And it's like, I get it, but I'm not. I, it's I guess to each his own, because
Yeah,
you're in it for the art, and I'm in it to, be creative and to monetize it too at the same time.
it depends on delivery.
Yeah,
Some things are meant to be on your phone, some things are meant to be on your big screen, I think.
yeah, definitely. And in the beginning, I didn't realize that until like what 2, 3 years ago. I didn't realize that until say like a year ago. Like okay, there's some stuff that are gonna be on TV regardless. Like
Hmm.
I wouldn't say like if you were to even still can make the argument that internet's gonna take over cable, you're still watching YouTube videos horizontal landscape. Is it landscape or
Yeah, I think so.
yeah? So
Horizontal
or
landscape.
probably just horizontal. So you're still watching Mr. Beast videos horizontal. You're not really watching the shorts
Hmm.
or like vertical. So I can respect both shooting vertical and horizontal and watching it. And yeah, same thing for radio. Like I think like putting radio ads. I didn't think that they would work until I hear a lot of people like, yeah, you'd be surprised. Like, gotta find a good jingle, and people are listening to the radio. They're, oh, I know that jingle, and then you'd be surprised. Like, you never know who your audience is or where they're at, and when they hear you or see your product
Right.
or service.
Yeah.
Um, do you have a favorite like director or a movie? We'll do both, a
Yeah.
favorite director and a movie or
So
directors.
my favorite director is definitely Guillermo del Toro.
Okay.
Um, and my favorite movie, man, I have a few, but if we were to put my top one, it is Under the Same Moon. Um, it's a very, a lot of people make fun of me about it, but I'm more of a like the kind that likes drama based on true story kind of movies.
Mm-hmm.
But Under the Same Moon, it's kind of about a kid that has a mom in the U.S. and he's in Mexico, and he kind of goes through all these obstacles. The kid's like 8 years old, and he chooses to cross the border, gets to find his mom. It's a very emotional story, and it's movies that I connect with because obviously I'm an immigrant, so uh, uh, I connected a lot with that movie, and it's very well told. It's the storyline's pretty nice. The cinematography is also really sweet. Has my favorite actress in it, Kate Del Castillo. I don't know if you've heard of her.
You have to
No.
show me a photo and then I
Yeah.
can.
She's more famous in the Latin market. But yeah, Guillermo del Toro, he's just like very inspiring to me. He started in Guadalajara and now he kind of built his empire here in Hollywood. And I love his art, I love his work. I just recently seen his movie Pinocchio,
Pinocchio, yeah.
Pinocho in
Pinocho,
Spanish.
that's what he says? Oh,
Pinocho,
okay.
Pinocchio. People say Pinocchio. I'm like, you mean Pinocho?
So did he, so when he made that one, Pinocchio, like, was that his own, like, storyline, or was he following the book, or, because
um,
it had Nazis in it, right? I watched it, but never
yeah.
really, like, it was, like, in and out.
I actually haven't looked much into it. I'm assuming he added his own little taste to it,
Okay.
like his own like story twist to it, because we don't really see Nazis in, the regular Pinocchio that is
Yeah.
told in a storyline. But that being said, he still incorporated like the main themes, like where his nose grows when he lies. But I feel like he added that, kind of based on his own touch to the film, which I think is what makes that film unique. How about you? Do you have a favorite movie or?
My favorite movie is Monty Python Holy Grail.
Okay.
Have you seen that one?
No, I have not. What is it
No.
about?
It's so Monty Python was like a group, like they did like kind of like SNL, but
Right.
back then like in the 70s and 60s. And then they just end up starting making movies together where like this one was just more about like King Arthur going around like back in those days, I don't know what blah 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 whatever number AD, and they're just like going around like collecting knights so they can find the Holy Grail. And it's just all like especially it's a comedy movie, but at the time where you don't really see movies like this, like you're tripping out. Like even to this day, like it'll make you laugh, and it's I wouldn't say it's I don't want to say like it's sophisticated humor, but it's like really clever. Where if you're watching it, you're like, oh shoot, how did the hell they thought about that? And if you
Mm-hmm.
watch it high, you're starting to see like the different layers of like the movie,
Yeah.
like the hidden
Uh
meanings with certain things, and you're like, oh shit, man, these guys are on the next level when
huh.
they did
Mm-hmm.
this. So they have that one. But I would always recommend Holy Grail.
Okay.
Director, I don't know. I like Quentin, but
I think his movies are really long. They're very dialogue heavy.
I like that.
Really?
I like
Oh my
dialogue heavy,
lord.
like Oppenheimer. When you were saying that, I'm like, I like just listening to it and being
Uh
in,
huh. You
like,
like movies that make you think.
yeah, make you think, but also like with Quentin, it's like you're not really thinking. You're just kind of like just being the fly in the room where they're just actually. It feels like they're having genuine
Right.
conversations. So it's like okay, you know what, that's fine, and I don't mind listening to it.
Uh huh.
But Oppenheimer, yeah, it was kind of like, shoot, like that's what that person went through, and like this is what it took, and like you're just building up that anxiety of like how long it's taking to get the bomb done, and so that was something where I did enjoy.
Yeah.
But Guy Ritchie was another a person at first, like his first like four movies, but now I don't really care for Guy Ritchie anymore.
Right. Uh huh.
Like, I'm like whatever. But Lock, Stock, I know you guys had it over there. Lock, Stock, Two Smoking Bros is really good, and Snatch was one of my favorite movies that I
Mm-hmm.
liked.
That's cool.
So the way the dialogue in that, and like just like the way he films it, is usually what it's out of sync. Like Quentin, sometimes like Quentin's early movies, like they were both kind of doing it like you're showing like the middle part first and then the second half, or then you'll go back to like the
Mm.
timeline just jumps usually.
Right.
So those are pretty fun because you start to just like connect the dots in your head.
Right. Right. I don't know. I don't know if I'm. I can see why you like it, but I don't know. Makes me think too much.
I get you.
uh, but I have a question. Since you're a movie guy, obviously as well, do you ever not enjoy the movie as much because you're constantly analyzing the storyline, how lines are said, how the lighting's done, how the framing is done? Because when I'm watching a movie, I sometimes can't enjoy it the first time because I'm focused on like storylines and all these technical elements of the film. I usually only enjoy it after I watch it a second time because now I'm not,
Yeah.
thinking about that. Do you ever feel like
Some
that?
sometimes I'd say more with commercials because I make more like commercial ads,
Right.
like short, like getting attention. As far as movies, you know, I don't really pay attention to it. Usually, well, like, I'll pay attention if, like, if the camera is, what is it, like the back camera is like right here, and you can, you see the person's mouth talking, but you can kind of like not see like the words matching up. It's
Mm-hmm.
just like they're just moving it to make
Right.
it look like they're talking.
Yeah.
Or if they have a hat this way, and then when they put the camera that way, looking at them, it's like straight.
Uh-huh.
It's like the little stuff that I'll notice it, and like, what throws me off, but it's nothing where like the lighting and all that. I don't really get. But you
Yeah.
have more experience in that field, so you know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really have that experience, so like, I just see it as like, I'd say like an ignorance kind of, just watching it just for like, because I have no experience in it.
Right, and it's actually kind of funny because I don't remember what movie it was because I saw a microphone like very briefly, and I'm like with my because I watched it with my friend. I can't remember what movie it was though, and I'm like, did you just fucking see that? There was a microphone in that movie, and he's like, no, I didn't. What are you talking about? I swear there was a microphone in that movie, and I saw a freaking microphone, and I'm like, how do you even get away with it? Because you know they're regulated, and you can't
Yeah.
put them in theaters because when when they when they get rated, they literally go one frame at a time to see if anything like. And I know because they got it's quality control. And I know because they did it for the movies that I worked in, the Amityville, the Sharon Tate film, and all
What?
those. They go frame by frame to see if there's like any abnormal editing that needs to be fixed.
And this is one person or multiple
That I
people?
don't know. I do know that it's one frame at a time, and they analyze everything, and they will literally tell you at this frame, at this time, there is a microphone. So when I saw that microphone, I'm like, how did they get away with this? So I was kind of in shock.
Yeah. How long? When did they start doing that? Do you know?
I'm not sure if they've been doing it forever, but I know that they've been doing it at least in the short amount of time that I've been working in film stuff.
Sheesh.
But I
So
don't know if they've been doing it forever. I mean, I'm assuming they have since, I think it's the MPAA. I don't know, the people that rate it says
yeah.
like rated R,
Uh huh.
rated PG. Those are the people that,
Damn, that's crazy.
yeah.
Oh yeah, because they're the ones that like how many like the how many cussing or like the f bombs you do so that to
Yeah.
make it rated R or make it PG.
Hmm.
That's crazy. So you said you worked like at the Emmys and like award shows. How's that like? Like what were your let me see. Like what was your like your duties there
Right.
or and you know what would you be interested in doing that more or like in the future directing or is it you're just a videographer or what is it exactly?
Um, well, the Emmys was a great experience. Once I started the internship, because they place you at different houses, Sony, Netflix, etc. I got placed at a Geiger Post. It's a post office around Vine, Hollywood and Vine.
Hold on.
And
So they're always so each Emmys is different like for like a bid. So Sony gets this one this year
no, no, no.
or
So the Academy has partners. So whether that's Sony, whether that's Netflix, whether that's
okay.
Disney, uh, I don't think they have Disney as a partner, but that's just an example. The Academy will place an intern, one intern, two at most, in each company
Mhm.
because they're partnered for that.
Mhm.
uh, and they're paid, and I think they even now offer like stipends to pay rent and whatnot. But when I did it, it was really nice. I really learned a lot because you're kind of sitting uh, with like working professionals that are already editing. You're learning, the proper techniques in post production. You're learning the DaVinci Resolve. It's a very intense internship, and it's an internship, but because if it's very competitive, you're kind of expected to already come in knowing at least some stuff. Of course, you're not there to be perfect because it's
Yeah.
just an internship, but it is expected to kind of have familiarity with it, and
Yeah.
that's why they screen applicants
Okay.
prior to. But yeah, after that, I graduated the internship, and then the academy kind of brings me on board every once in a while to work the Emmys and whatever and whatnot. And then in 2018, that was like so exciting because after I had finished that internship, they called me to present at the actual primetime Emmys. So I was kind of like on screen, kind of like trophy guy giving the
Mm,
trophies to like, I don't remember who I got. I think I was with John Legend, Will Ferrell was there, a bunch of these artists that you see on television. So I was just standing there on stage with them. So I thought I was doing it for free. They're just like, you want to present trophies? And I'm like, sure, that'll be fun.
yeah.
And I do remember them having me fill out some paperwork, but long story short, the next thing I know is like there's a check waiting in my door, and it wasn't just any check, it was literally $5,000 for airing in the US, and then I think I got another 3,000 for like airing rights like outside of the US. So I was like in shock. I'm like, imagine if people like me that are only giving the trophy are making like 8K-ish, and people that actually are established, famous people, like
Yeah.
how much they're making on those shows. It must be a lot of money. But yeah, that was exciting after that internship. And that internship opened a lot more doors. Obviously, the side gigs that I work on now, like the award shows, the visual effects that I worked in for like several studios. It's been quite the journey, and now I'm just here at Valley College, looking forward to kind of slowly transitioning it out of this environment and kind of going back to LA full time.
To be what, a voice actor or
No,
voice
I would
doing
love to
voiceover?
pursue something more like visual effects,
Okay.
but more on the, I'd say more on like the management side of it, like producing, VFX producer, VFX coordinator, just because it's less training on the eyes. Because when you're a VFX artist, your eyes are on the screen and it can hurt your eyes, and you only get one pair of eyes. I don't want to have to lose them, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty fun, and I mean, I loved my time here working in public education, but I feel like there's another calling,
Do,
for me.
do you have like is there a production company that you're trying to get into or a dream job?
Uh, I would love to work at Blumhouse.
Or are you trying to do horror?
Yeah, because I've mostly done horror as well,
Okay.
like VFX for horror. Uh, but also, I would ideally like Disney Animation Studios, etc. Um, one of those two, or if no one opens the door, I'll start my own thing, whatever.
Yeah,
Fuck it.
yeah, I'd say like just do your own on YouTube and then post them
Yeah.
or TikTok.
Or no, like I mean by making my own, like starting my own little VFX company and kind of outsourcing to, different people. I feel like I have enough people that make movies that can, be interested in the service.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you like? Are you when you're saying VFX? Is this like blood or CGI stuff?
So I'm more of a compositor, which means more like adding blood, adding or removing things that aren't supposed to be on a scene or that are supposed to be in a scene. If it's a trash can that is supposed to be there intentionally, I'm gonna add a trash can. If it's a trash can that's not supposed to be there, I'm gonna remove it, regardless of how shaky the camera is. I always make it work.
Wow.
Um, I do some 3D stuff, like for example, in The Haunting of Sharon Tate, there was an there was a radio, an antique radio in one of those older cars, 70s. I don't know, I don't remember the year range, but it was one of those
Mm.
older models. And the director really wanted a cassette player from back in that time frame, so I had to like literally put a thing on there that wasn't there, and it actually looked realistic. So I was pretty proud of it.
Damn.
Other things I've done is add trees, very challenging. Build walls from scratch because the wall wasn't what the director would want. So I would replace an entire wall, replace it with a new one. I've added flies for certain scenes because there was like a dog rotten in the Sharon Tate film, and I had to add like a lot of flies. They look pretty real.
So the directors like they come at you with the list, like
Yeah, they give you a shot list
a
of
shot.
every
Okay.
single thing that needs to be corrected, and then they also provide the plate for you so that you can uh, go from there. If I wasn't feeling in the mood sometimes, I would just outsource and keep half and give them a half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's smart. Definitely. So for that 3D wall, like you have to make it through. You have to actually make the 3D model, or it's just putting like almost like a green screen kind of
Uh,
wall.
so uh, it's a mixture of rotoscoping, motion tracking, and design as well. And by that I mean you have to create the wall, preferably through. I like to use natural textures. So if there's already a wall that's made from an actual wooden wall that was taken, I'll use that because you can't really replace. I mean, I guess you can, but it's also easier. You just go out, take a picture of what the director wants, and then it's actual wood that
Uh-huh.
or you can just go the 3D route, design it yourself, which will take longer. But whatever way you choose, there's not really right or wrong way to do things. But we replace the wall. Say the camera is moving a lot, I have to track the wall on the software to like kind of how it's moving on the X, Y, Z axis. The software I use will track it. I insert the wall plate and then it'll track the motion. Sometimes it's really hard because the camera is moving left, right, up, down. So, but I always somehow make it happen. Even if I have to go frame by frame, I'll do it. But that's not recommended because then you'll get wobbly shots.
Dang.
Yeah.
So you're saying that you said at the internships that you have to learn DaVinci. They don't use Premiere Pro. It's just only DaVinci.
No, that was just an example, but
Oh, okay.
they used DaVinci Resolve. They also used Avid Media Composer, which, by the way, it's like the one that gave birth
I
to
think yeah, I
all
remember
these
seeing
other
that.
softwares, Premiere, Final Cut, and all of those. So Avid Media Composer, it was pretty fun because now that I look back at it, it's pretty similar to like all the other softwares that came after it. But it's mostly built for like in-house things,
Hmm.
if it makes sense, for Avid Media Composer. But no, it's just Avid Media Composer, some Photoshop, some Illustrator, depends on what they were doing, and also Mocha. That's just to track motion.
Never used Mocha and Premiere Pro.
You've never used it?
I use Mocha like to make some red lines for real estate businesses,
Okay.
like the drone footage, just showing like the acres.
There's actually a new feature in After Effects, which you just select something and AI just removes it on its own.
I think
Like,
I've seen
say,
that.
if, yeah, you've
I
seen
think
that.
I've
It's
seen
pretty
that.
cool. I haven't played with it, but I saw that as a feature release and it was pretty cool. But yeah, that's a little bit about what I do.
Yeah, man. I mean, I don't want to take more of your time. I know you gotta get going, so we can just
No,
end it
no,
here, man.
not really, but.
No, I thought they were waiting for
Or
you.
I don't know, maybe they might be. Maybe I'll check in on them now.
Alrighty, well, thank you. I
Of
appreciate it,
course.
man.
Thank you for your time. Thank
And
you for this beautiful interview, these beautiful microphones, sponsored by DJI.
there you go. Yeah, say it in Spanish. Close it out in Spanish if you can.
Señores y señoras, damas y caballeros, este segmento ha sido... Let me start again. Señores y señoras, damas y caballeros, este segmento ha sido patrocinado por DJI y Huntington Films. Para más información en tus video comerciales o tus necesidades comerciales, visita Huntington Films. No esperes más. Hasta luego.
All right, thank you, man. And we're gonna have to hire you for some voiceovers in Spanish.
All right.